Today we discuss a rather touchy matter and the subject of rape. Have you wondered what you should do to a victim of rape, or what are the steps to follow after such an unfortunate incident? Welcome to the Wakili Mkononi Show as we deliberate on your rights, your freedoms, your remedies, and the legal process to follow after such an incident. So joining us today in discussing this unfortunate issue of rape is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, Pauline. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you so
Karibu
much.
sana.
Thank you so much for having me.
Pauline, we just want to get right into it. And it's good that we start by defining what rape is. What would be your definition of rape?
Rape is can be defined or is defined as the unlawful penetration of one's genital into another without consent. So it is very important to ensure that the definition includes the unlawful and without consent. It is the aspect of without consent that brings out the issue of rape.
I see. And many times when we talk about rape, the first thing that comes to mind is that it's normally perpetrated against women, but it can also be done to...
Oh yeah, it can be perpetrated towards men also.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not specifically to women.
Right. So what are the conditions that must be present for one to be charged with the criminal offense called rape?
Okay. First I'll start by saying that the criminal offense called rape is under the Sexual Offences Act. The Sexual Offences Act is an act of parliament where all the charges relating to sexual related offences are prescribed. And rape is one of the offences that has been prescribed under that particular act. For someone to be charged of that particular offence, number one, he must have unlawfully penetrated another person, meaning that his genitals must have unlawfully passed into another person. And there has to be the aspect of penetration without consent.
Without consent.
Without consent.
So I hear that.
Or the consent could have been granted, but the consent was granted forcefully.
I see.
Or mischievously.
Right.
Yes. Maybe somebody you were dragged and then someone slept with you, penetrated you, or you are a child and you are misled into, you are lured into a house with something and someone had.
Right. I think that is very good to highlight that. Now, because you've talked about the issue of consent, then how is it able to determine that there was no consent during the intercourse?
The line where consent comes in is a very, very, maybe not so clear. However, the aspect that the woman says, no, I do not want, it is a clear consent, I said no one. But there's some circumstances where you'll find maybe you come from a club with a man and maybe you've been flirting all over the club and you come to the house, you continue flirting and you reach the house and you say, no, I do not want to have sex with you, I do not want to have any intercourse with you. Their consent has been restrained.
Right.
You could actually go on into the bedroom and rest and you say, no, I do not want. So as long as there is the issue of it is not voluntary, getting into bed and having sexual intercourses with this person, where the no comes in, then the consent has been withdrawn.
I think that is very well put. So for a woman or a man, whoever it is happening to, as long as they say no, even if they've been flirting, even if the other person might have thought this is an invitation, as long as they say no, then that consent is cut.
Yeah, as long as they say no, the consent is cut. And it doesn't matter how somebody is dressed or how somebody is behaving towards you or how welcoming that person is, as long as that particular aspect of no has come in and the person says, no, I did not voluntarily agree.
Right.
Anything after that is forceful and is non-consensual.
Right. I think that is well put. So what happens during the unfortunate incidents of rape? And I know that this has been a conversation that has been ongoing, but there's some type of gray areas in it. What should happen when such an incident occurs? Now,
the first thing a person needs to do once you've gotten raped, it's very unfortunate, but you need to probably run to a place of security. Maybe if you are in some apartment or something, make sure you get into a place of security. But most importantly, you need to get yourself into a hospital, to get yourself to get HIV, drugs and other sexual transmitted diseases prevented at that particular point. Secondly, you need not to go and do not go and remove your clothes or shower or do anything, because once you go to the hospital will collect your clothes. The medical officer will look at any bruises that may be on you. All those things are very examinable and record this particular thing. If there are clothes, if you need to change, then you need to change at the hospital, because then the exhibits will be taken from your genitals or something like that, and your clothes will be collected for purposes of taking them to the police station. That particular person who examines you at the hospital is the very person who is coming to court to tell the court that this is the state at which the victim came to the hospital. She had blood stains. We examined her vagina. We got some specimens over there. She had bruises on her hand. She had some injuries. Yeah, her clothes were torn. That is a person who is a very important witnesses. And why are we concentrating on witnesses? Because the court in Kenya will only give a conviction, and that is a rape. A person charged of rape will only be convicted of that particular offense if there's sufficient evidence. Yeah, so it is not just going to a police say I have been raped. You need to give the police evidence. Give us evidence that you have been raped. Yeah, and the police will not just mere saying, look, my hand has been bruised, is not sufficient enough to be raped. There need to be a medical officer who has checked that we have got some semen in your vagina or your anus. We got some injuries on your breasts or some bruises on your hand, and there was some bleeding which we
some
have.
sense of struggle.
Yeah, some sense of struggle, and there's some bleeding, there's some blood on your clothes and all.
Right. Then is this, tell us, Wakili, is this the reason why victims are advised not to take a shower?
Very
after
important.
such an incident?
Yes, very importantly, do not take a shower because the police need to collect evidence. They need evidence to present before the court. If there was nothing that was found, for example, if the police cannot establish that there was some sense of struggle, that there was some sense of interference on your genital areas, if there's no particular evidence that the police may have, then the case will be lost. The case will flop.
Very unfortunately, but as you have said correctly, so that they need evidence to work with.
They need evidence. And I was also saying, once you are from the hospital, you've been given the drugs, the medical officer has seen you, then you need to go and report the issue to the police station. Because again, without reporting the issue to the police station, the police will not pick it up, yeah? Or you decide, maybe I'll do it later. It's very important you go and report the issue to the police station, at which point they will give you something called a P3. It's a P3 form, which is a document to go and record, to be assessed and to go and record with the medical officer of what exactly was examined.
Right.
Yeah.
Very well explained. So you have mentioned that rape is one of the offenses that is under the Act. Now, what is the penalty for a person that has been charged, not just accused, but charged with rape?
When someone has been found guilty of the offense of rape, it varies from the particular age of the victim.
Right.
So if it is an adult woman, it will run about 10 years to 20 years. Okay. Oh yeah. But if it is a child below maybe 8, or a child below 5 years, it will run from 15. If it is a young child of maybe a baby, it will run from 20 years on to life. Yeah.
Right.
So it depends, because the act of rape comes with other offenses like unlawful trespass to body, physical assault, grievous harm.
Right.
So for that offense, we can clearly say that it is, once found guilty, you get 10 to life.
Right. It's very important, Wakili, that you have talked on the issue of age. Now, there's something that is called statutory rape. Do you want to define that to us?
Statutory rape is just rape in itself, yeah, as recognized under the Sexual Offences Act.
Right.
Yeah.
So with a minor.
With a minor, yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So a minor cannot consent to having sex. That will, with an adult, because that will now be considered as rape.
Oh yeah. When it comes to ages, a minor, a child below the age of 18 years old, has the incapability to give consent to sex. So the mere fact that anyone has had sexual intercourses with a child below the age of 18, the issue of consent will not arise once the prosecution has already established that the child is of 18 years and below.
Now, there has been fear circulated around about the possibility of someone fabricating the claims of being raped. And that's why I think the police want to work with evidence. What happens after that if someone is found guilty of fabricating?
It is another offense under the particular act to lie that someone has raped you and it has not raped you. And actually the courts have held that if you lie that you have been raped and it is established that you are actually lying, then the offense that you get is equivalent to the offense that person would have gotten if he had raped you. or if she had penetrated you.
That's quite severe.
Yeah, that's quite severe. So it's not an offense you go and lie and you say, and in fact, sexual offenses are one of those offenses, and in particular the rape. You don't go to the police and say, I've been raped, and then you say in quote unquote, I've forgiven him. No, because the offense of rape is an offense against the state.
Correct.
Yeah, so it is not offense and against you. It's like when I steal from you, you can say, okay, you return my money, I'll go to the court, and I say that I've forgiven you, and the court will accept. Oh, if you've forgiven each other, go away. When it comes to rape, you cannot do that. Yeah, you cannot, because it is the state that is complaining you have offended it. So you cannot give the state anything. What the state wants is a conviction.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, I think that is very well put, Wakili. And finally, even as we come to a close, maybe someone will be watching this interview and asking then, who do I call? Is there a hotline number that I can call in case of an emergency?
In case of an emergency, most hospitals have established emergency areas. Okay. Police stations have sections in their police stations where they deal with minor issues and women-related offenses. We can also refer to a hotline number.
Right, the 1195?
Yes, the 1195 number, where you can get assistance immediately.
All right.
And it's a total free number.
Thank you. I think that has been quite informative and liberating for some people who probably are grappling with the issue of victimization and rape internally. Now they know what to do. Thank you, Wakili.
Thank you so
that
much
was
for having
awesome.
me.
Asante.
Thank you.
We have come to yet another end of an enlightening episode. For more information on simplified legal matters, you can log on to our website on www.wakilimkononi.co.ke, or you can follow us on our social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wakilim Kononi. Remember, ignorance of the law is no defense. Until next time, bye-bye.